I'm going to step back for a minute now. I'm just thinking about, you shared a little bit about your evolution with JRS, what drew you in. If there's anything else on that, again, from this leadership perspective, that sounds like this drive to make a difference in this self-awareness of where you could make a difference. You know, when you think back on your journey, are there other people, certainly this group, but any others when you think about mentors or literature, things that influence where you've gone, kind of that inner strength you have from a leadership perspective?
As a young man, I was reading the book of Teilhard de Chardin, Le Phénomène Humain, the human phenomenon, his vision, his insight, how the human family is growing together, the diversification of the human family in different lines, whatever he is as a paleontologist, what he found, researching the past, the origins of humanity, but then being inspired by his, and seeing a vision that actually we can experience that. How the world in a way grows together. It's a painful process, but communication is something to do with that, what he calls noosphere and so on. That fascinated me a lot, that book, I must say. But combined with the experience, I reflect on reality. And then at the same time, as a young man, I was always working on a farm. It was good. These are my roots. I come from a farm. But as a 19-year-old, I had the chance to go to Africa, and I still remember the first impressions. Seeing the beauty of another culture, fascination, the smile, the African smile, but also some poor people, somebody begging, the first time I ever begged, and so on. That touched me. So I came back, said, if the world is like that, I'm not going just to have a normal career. Of course, there was always a question of vocation, but never mature. But that was a challenge for me. To experience the world as it is out there, as a young person, as a 19, 20-year-old, the fascination of other cultures, and also the question of justice, you know. And so then and from that onwards, it evolved the question of what direction you take in life. So, and the inspiration, you know, of Teilhard de Chardin, but also the reality of the world, that has had a different impact on my life. And I could say also a German Jesuit who was somehow the saint of my family, when my father was very sick there also. So there's a Jesuit who stood up in the Nazi time, Rupert Meyer. He stood up and he saw in 1923 already that this ideology is going to cause big problems. If that becomes politics, and he was already going to the meetings of the Nationalsozialisten of Adolf Hitler in Munich. And he stood up and challenged them, and then he was in the Nazi time in concentration camp, but then because he had so many followers, and also my father took the bicycle to drive to hear and he preached and so on. Go there by bicycle. And he was in silence, and they couldn't kill him because he had too many, was too popular. In that combination, he was an apostle in Munich for the poor, so he collected money for the poor, he helped a lot of people. So this combination of political analysis, but real, having your feet involved, have the hands involved, get also your hands dirty and involved with the world, you know. When you sit back and you're just be a theologian and you talk and you can have great ideas, no, get into the reality. Reality is not easy, you make also mistakes. In that sense, I say, get also your hands dirty. Yeah, as you know, that incarnation is hands-on, but with a concept, with a reflection. And that I liked in this man. I read his books just when I said at the end, before I joined in 1981, the Jesuits, I read these books of his and said, if he can have a place in the Society of Jesus, I might also have a place, you know. And it's still, that's both, you know. I like to talk about politics, I like to talk about issues and what causes all that, but also to do something, you know, in it, to do something positive. And that combination, again, is of importance. I think so. But there are many other things, you know. My mother always managed the farm. She was a manager in a way. My father was, he was, of course, on the face outside, but de facto the family was running. And we always laughed about it, you know. Management is very practical. So I never learned leadership. Never done a course, never done a study, never done accounts and never nothing. But you have to learn these things sometimes in life, and but you learn it often from people back home. So to combine, to combine things in order to be more effective and whatever. But I also think, well, maybe to be creative, doing new things. My father was always open to, you know, to have the farm modernized, you know. And also his interest in world politics, and listening every day to the news in the morning at lunchtime. There was during meals we had to listen to the news and so on. That's why I know all these things at that time as a young person. When Kennedy was killed, when the Vietnam War was. These are all already images as a young person. As children we discussed what about these nuclear bombs and all that stuff. At 7, 8 years old, because we got it, you know. And this kind of, I think a lot of key concepts of openness to the world, it is shaped in an early stage. It unfolds then, you know. But so you can find many aspects which then form you as a person and the way we respond to the world interests and whatever. So the management I learned from my mother and not in a book.
That's great.